Never have I been so tired of tits. Hey, my name is Jobby, and we're looking at the TransArt Metal Jungle BWM08 Metal Spider Queen, a third-party version of Metal Blackarachnia from Beast Wars. And you thought the original design was horny. Who am I talking to? My memory is in fragments. Memory Fragment is a relaxing, casual game about disassembling and repairing various nostalgic objects like figures, Lego blocks, and old game consoles. You play as Roy, a repairman piecing together items from his childhood, which gradually pieces together memories in an old photo album, collects stickers hidden in some parts of the objects, and discovers secret content which can lead to multiple endings. The game was developed by Vian Co., who've made these kind of 3D puzzle adventure games before. They're even willing to communicate with users to continue developing high-quality games. Memory Fragment is only $6.99 on Steam, and there are no additional in-game purchases for you to enjoy the full experience. So check the link in the description, wishlist the game on Steam, and start piecing together your memories today, which is something I'm struggling with. If you wanted this figure for yourself, you can get it through the link in the description. Not a bad price compared to some other stuff we've covered, right? How I love the smell of copium. So right off the bat, or spider as it were, this is not my favorite design for Blackarachnia. The first one was miles better. Not a criticism about the figure, this thing aims to be as show accurate as possible. It's just the design itself is a little too horny. I can relate. There's a famous story about the producers and writers of Beast Wars going to a strip club. Seriously. Which resulted in Blackarachnia going from this to this. Now, if that design was the result of a strip club, this design is the result of an hour-long gooning session. As for the figure itself, the painting and the sculpting on this figure is amazing. The tacky design from the show is perfectly recreated. It really tickles me in the Beast Wars nostalgia button, also known as the B spot. And at the risk of sounding like a critic of nostalgia, this looks way better than the original Metal Blackarachnia toy. You notice that thing had giant shoulder pads? Obviously, they closed together to form the booty of the spider mode, and we'll get to that mode for this figure later, which has significantly smaller shoulder pads. And that's what this clump of kibble is for. That's right, parts forming. Based on the previous TransArt figure that I reviewed and this one, this seems to be a consistent issue with this company. In the pursuit of 100% show accuracy, a great goal to be sure, TransArt takes the unfortunate shortcut that I thought I'd only see in transformable Bandai figures. Optional alternate parts. Why couldn't TransArt design her shoulder pads so that they impossibly expand for her spider mode? Was it so hard to call upon the fourth king of hell to help with your engineering process? I'm only half joking, but I have seen some shit. That's demonic. All this parts forming criticism falls a little flat when you consider that this hunk of kibble can transform and plug into her back to form a cool coat dress thingy. Makes her very hard to stand up, as though she wasn't hard enough to stand up already. And that's why you get this included stand. It's disassembled out of the box, and even has a metal puck for you to plug into the bottom of it. Pretty hefty little thing, and it helps weigh down the stand. By the way, you should check out my Just Playing stream on Jobby too. You'll see me play with figures way before I review them on this channel. Anyway, this piece supposedly plugs into her back and supposedly locks into place. I can't for the life of me get this thing to stay put. And it's not like there's an instruction manual that I could refer to. I'll talk about that later. But bend these tight as hell hinge joints and balance her out, and that looks pretty good. Coat dress thing and all.
But Jobby, it's not so accurate.
What are you doing here? I thought you died in Israel.
Get this shirt at the Shozy store.
Booby.
I'm as much of a robophile as any Beast Wars writer, but this feature is just horny for no good reason. Which wouldn't be as bad if it would stay on. Put them away, you harlot. Doesn't even tab, plug, or snap in. Just an incredibly weak magnet that barely clings onto her metal mamitas. And if TransArt was gonna be degenerate, why not go all the way and include milk duds and removable pants?
I wanna see the spider.
Legs are detached out of the box. They simply plug into these ball joints, but be very careful when doing so. You might shit. Literally the last leg that I attached, everything was going perfectly fine until I fricked it all up. Story of my life. My bank account is in the negative. I've truly hit a new low. Each spider leg has a stupidly tight ratchet joint, which was even stupiderly tighter out of the box. So I would recommend heating them up with a hairdryer for like 4 seconds and gently bending each leg into place. She doesn't look complete without them. Transmetal designs in general are great at making gigantic back kibble appealing. TransArt Rampage when. Part of me wishes these legs were made of die-cast metal. Maybe then they wouldn't break so easily. But that would just make her even harder to stand up. Slap! The only thing giving her any sort of balance are her die-cast metal feet, which you can actually feel. Doesn't give her that much heft though, she's really lightweight. But the joints are solid, if not rock solid. Her shoulders were actually too tight out of the box. They had this disgusting squeak to them, which would normally be fine if the joints weren't so small. And that was a job for the slippery white stuff. All you need is a microscopic drip of silicone grease, and her joints squeak no more. Allows for a fun, fluid fuck. These reverse butterfly joints are just as annoying as the bra, which I've been holding onto for dear life. Is this demonetizable? I lost my monetization a long time ago. But other than that, most of the joints are tight enough to hold their position. Not too floppy, not too tight. Which, as you could imagine, allows for a nice range of posability. Ball joint at the head allows her to look up that far and down that far. Every ball joint can be a swivel. Ball joint at the shoulder pads. Rotation at the shoulder. Bicep swivel. Double bend at the elbow. No wrist articulation, but her giant middle finger is on a hinge joint. And so is her thumb. I've already covered the spider legs. Ball joint at the chest allows for a chest crunch and an arc. Every ball joint can be. The chest swivel makes up for the lack of a waist swivel. Rotation at the leg, which can go a full 360. And the hips can extend by way of this double hinge joint for even more leg articulation. Mostly helps with the sassy cross leg pose. Tight thigh swivel, knee swivel, double bend at the knee, up and down at the ankle, and a really good ankle pivot. Posability is great, just enough articulation to make her do funky things with Silverbolt if TransArt gets around to him. Would you look at that? Link in the description. Size comparison time. Here's Figma Madoka Kaname, Haya Toys Godzilla, Magic Square Light of Peace, and the official Transformers masterpiece Blackarachnia, which makes an excellent accompaniment to this figure, which I'm glad exists, since Takara's probably never gonna make masterpiece Transmetals. Third-party companies are always picking up the slack. But in the case of the transformation, Takara wins. I'm not taking her bra off because I want to, although
I do want to.
this is the first step of her transformation. And the bra doesn't go anywhere after that. And I forgot to mention the whole spider head is a separate piece. You can push these parts for some pincer action, and it plugs into her hand to make a pretty lame gun. Probably why I didn't mention it. But it does look cool as a spider head. Let's just get into it. Pay close attention to how the butt interlocks. This included card reminds you of that. First of all, big shout out to Mang Motion, who provides the video instructions for this figure. That's right, instead of a proper booklet or a fold-out, God forbid, you get a card with a QR code that takes you right to everyone's favorite toy reviewer. What's the big deal with Mang Motion anyway? Why does he get all the cool third-party gigs? It's not like he has high production value and a consistent output. Go check out Mang Motion, he's great. Totally not jealous at all. Anyway, Spider Mode's great. It's just as lazily cobbled together as the original. The transformation was basically her doing extreme yoga, and then she gets wrapped up by a spider ass. And that's all it needs to be. I love it. This was extremely easy to transform. One of the simplest third-party transformations that I've experienced in quite some time, which will not be the case forever, I assure you. The only complaint about the transformation that I have, besides the parts forming butt, is that things on the robot mode body don't really plug in together. It was a little annoying to stuff this crumpled up woman in such a tight space. Despite the simplicity of the transformation, the spider mode looks cohesive enough, with just a little bit of bottom kibble. And the head sculpt has a ton of personality. Swivel here, and you get an alternate cradle to attach this mode to the stand. Kinda wish she had some kind of web accessory, so I could hook her up to my penis. Size comparison time again. Here's Monica, Godzilla, Prime, and Blackarachnia. Although I prefer this figure spider mode, this spider mode feels a lot better to play with. Those ratcheted spider legs help out a lot. And you could help me out a lot by subscribing, so you don't miss the tidal wave of videos that I've been posting. I forgot to mention that you get a card, stats on the back. But how much mana does it cost to cast? I've truly hit a new low.